Welcome back to a new video. In today's video, I'm going to go over items that actually can't go limited on Roblox. And I want to go over this because I've seen a lot of comments saying, I want this to go limited, I want that to go limited. However, the item or the thing they mention actually can't go limited. And there have been a lot of videos saying things that they want to go limited. I want to make a video stating some things that actually can't go limited so that clears it up a bit so that people aren't confused why certain things are actually staying off sale rather than going limited. So I have many different things that fall under this category, but the first one is toy code items. And the problem with these is that they can still be redeemed. So even if they stop selling a series or there's a very old series and it's no longer in stores, there's still different codes being traded online on different websites between people, and they can still be redeemed anytime. So it wouldn't work if something goes limited and you can still redeem it. Then that would just generate new copies of that limited that still have not been redeemed. So unless Roblox states directly that these certain codes are no longer able to be redeemed, then they would be able to go limited. But since they can also be redeemed, even the rare ones can still be redeemed if there's still some out there, they do not have a chance of going limited. So toy codes are not open as a possibility as of right now. And the next one is a bit more confusing, but I'm talking about sponsored items that are directly related to the item itself. So for example, right over here we do have these free books that they release often for these kind of events. We have the Dogman book, we have Captain Underpants, we have a bunch of these different kind of sponsored items, and they have the sponsored name directly in the item. And these items won't go limited because unless they directly settled it with a sponsor that their items are going to go limited, they probably won't go limited. It's only happening now recently with a lot of the sponsored items because they've already discussed it and they're choosing like one or two, and they say directly that the item is going to go limited after some amount of time. But that doesn't mean event items can't go limited. I think Riptide is a good example of that. As you can see in the description, it does mention the sponsor, but the item itself doesn't really relate to the sponsor, and it's just a basic sword. So any item that might have been a part of a sponsored event but doesn't actually relate to a sponsor does have the chance to go limited, but things that have the sponsors directly tied in most likely will not go limited. The next category I do want to touch on is items that they took off sale for possibly offensive reasons, like cultural reasons or scandals and things happening in real life. And they recently, and by recently I mean probably like a year ago, they did a wave where they took a bunch of things off sale, mostly older items that could have been possibly seen as culturally offensive. So I don't see them making them limited if they took them off sale just so they wouldn't offend anybody. And of course there are some items that are actually limited that could be seen as culturally offended, but they can't really make an item unlimited unless it was broken when it first released. But some examples here: Snow Samurai hats, they did take a sale. We have the Native American headdress, we have the striped hat, and different hats like these that most of the times are actually classic items, which is pretty unfortunate. They most likely will not go limited due to them being possibly offensive. Now the next category I do want to touch on is currently active items, and that could fall into toy codes as well. I'm talking about items they can currently get through some method other than Robux purchasing. Like for example, gift card items. If you can get the gift card item right now from a store in this certain month that it's available in, then these probably won't go limited right now. Maybe later on they can, but as of right now, if they're still being available to obtain, then they can't go limited. And the next category I do want to touch on are bundles and packages right over here. They have never made one of these limited before, and I don't see them making any of these kind of items limited in the future. It is tough because these kind of things have multiple parts within them. So if you make this limited, there's 4 different things in here that could be possibilities of limited. So that's why it's a bit confusing. And with packages, it's more difficult because there are body parts. So I don't think they would make something limited that has individual body parts because that'd be hard to maintain. So I would doubt anything relating to a package will go limited. I think a bundle could possibly have one thing go limited from it in the future. For example, if they took this off sale, maybe they could just make this Sparkle Time Shaggy limited. I could see them doing something like that in the future, but that's really unlikely. They have a lot of hats that are just on their own they can make limited without having to take any bundles off sale. So I don't see any packages or bundle related items going limited in the future. And the last category I did want to touch on is gear. And of course there are many limited gear. As you can see, there are 5 on the page that I'm currently looking at. However, they haven't made a new gear in years, and they are kind of staying away from gear as they tend to break a lot, and they're kind of hard to maintain as they usually have scripts, and over time as code changes, a lot of older things break with Roblox because a lot of them are pretty old and they follow older scripts, so they tend to break. And they did take off sale the skateboards because those broke, and I think that they're trying to stay away from these as they have a high tendency of breaking. So even though they could go ahead and make one limited, I don't think it is as likely as some of the other things, as they have tried to stay away from them for the last couple of years. I think one of the last ones we actually did get was this egg phone, which was free, and that was when Egghunt still existed. So they definitely are trying to stay away from these as much as they can. But yeah, those are some things that actually can't go limited. I want to hear your opinions in the comments on if you agree and what you think about this, if they might change some of these rules in the future. But yeah, that is pretty much this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.